Napaka-importante at interesting, very relevant itong guest natin ngayon. Akala ko nga sa studio pero via Zoom makakausap natin siya, political scientist, public interest lawyer. Marami ang sumusunod sa kanya being a vlogger. At syempre ay marami siyang mga inputs dito sa mga nangyayari sa ating, alam mo na, sa ating society. Walang iba kundi suki na rito sa DZMM Teleradyo, walang iba kundi si Attorney Jesus Falsis III. Attorney Jess, good morning sa programang Kabayan. Danny Buenafe.
Good morning, Sir Danny. Good morning sa lahat ng mga nakikinig.
Okay, one of the most sought after na mga vlogger at saka ang daming following nito. Anyway, syempre marami tayong issue kaya medyo bibigyan ko talaga ng oras to. Una, yung himay-himay natin dahil ito concern mo dahil legal syempre concerns, no. Una, yung reaction mo dito sa red notice ng Interpol para sa cancellation ng passport ni Harry Roque. Kasi dinidispute niya to Sabi niya meron daw uli siyang ipa-file, so dapat daw hindi apply sa kanya itong deportation. Sabi niya meron pa raw siyang asylum na request. Would this apply or tingin mo ba dapat ito ipatupad ang deportation kaagad, attorney?
Well, we're not an expert on Dutch law per se, no? But in terms of international law, tama naman si Attorney Harry Roque na may principle of non-refoulement, meaning hindi mo pwede ibalik sa country of origin kung may political persecution and if pending pa yung asylum application mo, which presupposes ang basis mo for applying for asylum is political persecution. So it goes back to that main issue. Is there political persecution or not? Should his asylum be granted? So habang pending yun, hindi pa pwede ma-enforce yung deportation or yung red notice assuming magka-cooperation man with Interpol. But pag na-decide na yon and let's say ma-deny yun kasi we haven't been updated with the status of his asylum application. Si Attorney Harry Roque, he just keeps on saying parang pending siya. Pero we all know parang ang tagal na nung pamamalagi sa Netherlands and siguro dapat nagka-decision na yun kasi may mga nagsasabi na deny na yun, ina-appeal lang niya. But of course, he has the right to exhaust. Even sa Pilipinas, may right to appeal, no? So baka ina-appeal niya yung denial. But most likely, I don't think the Netherlands or the Dutch government will see that there's political persecution, no? Ang political persecution kasi, Sir Danny, klaro yan na kailangan merong political issue na ikaw ay kinakasuhan na either invento or talagang pinilit yung kaso para lang magkaroon ka ng kaso. So makikita natin yan kay Anwar Ibrahim sa Malaysia noon, makikita natin yan kay Laila de Lima sa Pilipinas noon na politically connected yung kaso. Paano natin masasabi? For example, yung kay Senator Laila de Lima noon is because she was investigating the war on drugs. Before she was a senator, tapos naging senator siya, yung ini-investigate niya, yun yung naging pangulo. So may direct conflict. Here, wala namang relationship yung kaso ni Attorney Harry Roque doon sa Pogo kay PBBM. Even if he criticizes PBBM so much, ibang kaso yung human trafficking ibang kaso yung criminal operation. So there is a valid case na separate issue from his criticism of the president. Usually po, ang political persecution kailangan libel or slander or a politically charged case like terrorism, rebellion. Yan mas usually nakikita ng mga international or Western governments na political persecution kasi yung kaso, yung nature ng kaso ay connected sa politika, rebellion, terrorism, nasa interpretation mo yan Libel, slander, nasa interpretation mo yan kung libelous yung speech in relation with politics, no, with political speech. Ito po, criminal case to na klaro merong peace and order issue, merong human trafficking issue, may human rights issue. So, baka hindi siya makita as a political persecution.
Hindi, pero kagabi, napanood ko si PAOK, di ba si Winston Casio, yung argument nila dito, dalawa daw Ibig sabihin, titingnan nga nila, no? For now, kasi ang nakikita nila, it could be kasi ito transnational crime daw to, itong qualified human trafficking. So it doesn't apply dito ang political persecution. So yun ang pinapaliwanag niya kagabi. Although he is not a lawyer, kaya gusto ko rin itanong sa iyo, sabi niya hindi siya pwedeng makover ng political persecution kung yun ang argument ni Harry Roque. Ang sinasabi niya, pag qualified human trafficking, parang it's parang covered ng yung Palermo Convention na sinasabi transnational crime yan, na qualified human trafficking, na even Dutch government or German government hindi papayag na committed sila dun sa convention na yon. So it's really qualified human trafficking. So it doesn't apply itong political issue or persecution. Ano ba tingin mo, attorney?
Ayun, nasabi niyo na po, international convention. Kasi kapag international convention, treaty, may international law or cooperation, may commitment ang mga states or countries to cooperate on that issue because they think it is so important. So qualified human trafficking, napaka-importante po niyan at hindi siya pwedeng political persecution kasi dapat ang basis ng kaso para maging political persecution ay politika. Hindi politika ang qualified human trafficking.
So at least malinaw from your own perspective na rin na hindi niya pwede apply. Although syempre aabangan pa rin natin kasi pinalabas na yung cancellation ng passport, pero whatever it is, tingin mo hindi pwede sapilitan na magawa kasi he is entitled to his own legal remedy. Marunong at magaling din naman lawyer talaga si Attorney Harry Roque.
Yes, tsaka ang mag-implement ng red notice or magko-cooperate with Interpol is the Dutch police government or the Dutch government. So, hindi sila magko-cooperate in the meantime habang, even if may red notice, habang may pending asylum application. Kasi nga, dikit-dikit sa bituka, tali-tali yung issue.
Okay. Pero in the case of Cassandra Leong na ito rin, qualified human trafficking na talagang, ewan ko bakit nga napakawalan. Sabi nga sa akin ni Senator Risa, hindi rin niya alam, natabunan dahil nga nag-convene na yung 20th Congress nung nagbitaw pala yung 19th Congress. Ano lang siya, di ba, yung kaso lang niya is contempt, kaya pala napalaya. Tapos ngayon, naghahabol na sila ngayon, kinancel ang passport niya. Ikaw ba, malaki ang tsansa na she can be iba yung kaso niya kay Harry Roque na pwede siya talagang mapabalik sa bansa, Jess? Attorney Jess?
Well, wala naman po siyang pending asylum application we know of anywhere. At saka ang naririnig natin na intel from DILG Secretary or from other government officials is nasa Japan siya or
pero matagal na yun, attorney, matagal na raw pala yun, January pa pala yun. So ibig sabihin, lately yung mga movements pala niya hindi nasusundan na rin ng PAOK dahil may mga ibang priorities na.
Ma-investigate naman yan, Sir Danny, kasi if you remember si Alice Guo, na siya, na natiktikan, di ba? Tapos si Teves, natiktikan din until finally magkaroon ng kaso, terrorism, mapauwi. So yung kay Cassandra Leong, the government will just have to do its normal police work.
Okay. Sige, at talon tayo sa ibang issue naman kasi alam ko marami kang covered ng mga interest Itong tungkol sa, alam ko ang COMELEC will come up with a decision this week in the case of former Senate President Chis Escudero tungkol dito sa Omnibus Election Code, the violation that he received 30 million, 'di ba? Campaign donation from 'di ba yung isang yung contractor, Lubiano, 'di ba? Tingin ko this week yata may decision na. Meron ka bang update doon? Anong tingin mo, will he be convicted or whatever? Maano siya? Positive ito na ma-accuse siya? Positive?
Well, una po sa COMELEC, we appreciate na meron silang motu proprio or sariling investigasyon kahit walang nagpa-file noon. Pero lagi nilang sinasabi, last week or 2 weeks ago sinabi din yan ni COMELEC chairman na maglalabas na kami ng desisyon soon or maglalabas na kami this week.
Baka this week.
And yet wala pa din. So sana mailabas na yan this week kasi nakailang buwan na sila na investigasyon or research on the issue, pero sa akin po, if you might not recall, pero may civil society group, the Silent Majority, kasama po ako, nag-file po kami ng sarili naming complaint or petition for Senator Chis Escudero to be held liable for election offense over the same issue, accepting an illegal donation, prohibited contribution under the Omnibus Election Code. So kami, ang hope namin or inaasa namin ay ma-push namin, madagdagan yung momentum ng sariling investigasyon ng COMELEC doon sa isang complaint na meron ng nagkaso na hindi COMELEC, na mga civil society na mismo ang nagkaso. So definitely, Sir Danny, he should be held liable for that. Ang mangyayari kasi dyan, if COMELEC agrees with our complaint or in its own investigation finds na merong liability, magfa-file ang COMELEC sa RTC for violation of the Omnibus Election Code. So,
Sa RTC? Sa RTC?
Yes, magkaka-trial pa po yan. Hindi mismo si COMELEC yung magpapunish kay Senator Cheese at kay Lawrence Lubiano for the prohibited contribution. Kasi election offense po yan eh. It is like a criminal offense na merong preliminary investigation, parang prosecutor or fiscal at the COMELEC level. So magkaka-trial po yan. But at the first level no sa COMELEC, we do agree and we do think na the COMELEC should file a case for election offense. Yun yung inaasahan nating desisyon, whether or not the COMELEC thinks they should file a case against Senator Cheese.
So ngayon, nandun pa rin tayo sa issue na yon. So later on na lang, kung meron talagang valid ground, pwede nila i-refer na doon sa proper court, di ba? Para i-push yung election offense. Anyway, pinipilit din namin, Attorney Jess, na makuha rin ang panig ni Senator Cheese. Bukas ho ang ating programa para just in case ibigay niya ang kanyang panig. Pero alam ko, Attorney Jess, meron din siyang, di ba, naalala ko, meron siyang disbarment case against you. Umuusad na ba o talaga, baka naman nag-uusap tayo, disbar ka na. Di ba?
Ano po yan, malalaman nyo na po yan kung disbarred ako kasi binabalita naman po yan ng Supreme Court. So far, what we can see is disbarment proceedings are confidential.
Okay.
But what I can share is, I haven't received a copy of the disbarment complaint.
Okay. So, at least we'll just leave it at that, no? Pero itong isa pang issue na gusto ko i-tackle natin, Attorney Jess, itong sa November 28 na schedule na dito para mag-decide na ang ICC naman, ang International Criminal Court, para talagang sabihin na kung sino talaga may final jurisdiction at saka yung issue ng interim release. Is this something na ano bang forecast mo dito, Attorney Jess?
Well, it is an appeal, no? Meaning meron ng initial decision. The initial decisions were denied ang interim release and the initial decision was may jurisdiction and it was a unanimous decision. No? So this is on appeal and most likely, based on other experts, no, hindi ako, like Senator ni Cristina Conti and other experts with the ICC have said that most likely the appeal will be denied because there are no new, walang bagong grounds or basis to argue or to say na walang jurisdiction yung ICC because napakaklaro naman, Sir Danny. Bakit may jurisdiction ng ICC? Before we withdrew, we were still part of the ICC and yung mga crimes that are being prosecuted right now against Rodrigo Duterte were crimes he committed before the withdrawal. And napakaklaro ng Rome Statute that jurisdiction continues or exists for the cases that were investigated or prosecuted before the withdrawal, covering the period before the withdrawal. Ano po ba yung mga cover, di ba? If you remember, Sir Danny, there are 3 counts against President Rodrigo Duterte. The first is for Davao Death Squad, which is before 2010, nung mayor pa siya ng Davao City, Davao Death Squad. The second is when he was president, 2016, 2 to 3 years before the withdrawal for Oplan Tokham. And then the third is for the Barangay Anti-Drug Cleaning Operations, which was also a program or policy of Duterte when he was president before the withdrawal.
Okay. Attorney Jess, how do you view this? Kunwari, meron ng with finality, mag-decide sila na, okay, kami ang talaga may jurisdiction, ICCs will proclaim or declare it by November 28. Ano ang implication nito? Let's say, tingnan natin yung 2028, whoever sits there, there is no chance na kahit sino yung pumalit ay pwedeng maibalik sa bansa or ito yung mga panawagan na ilang mga grupo na mapabalik sa bansa. No way, kasi during the course of the trial, this will take years na.
Well, we will never say never, di ba? There's always a chance. And so, ako, ang appeal ko sa mga pro-Duterte, even sa ating bise, Pangulo, no, sa Vice President natin, if they really want to bring back Duterte home, let's say magkaroon ng ibang leadership sa 2028 who will more aggressively lobby or advocate for the return of Duterte, they should learn from the decision this year, no, on the denial of the interim release, meaning they should not make statements na kinidnap si Duterte. They should not make jokes na
that will hamper, that will dampen their chances, parang ganon.
Yes, na dapat maniniwala si ICC na
Convincing.
pinakawalan namin si Duterte temporarily on interim release, na isosoli nyo or ibabalik siya kapag may trial date siya.
Okay.
So, the ball is with the pro-Duterte because the reason why the interim release is denied is because of the Duterte family.
Okay, well said. Anyway, isa pa issue, tungkol dito sa kay Zaldico, meron na naman bagong video no? At kasi in the absence of a sworn affidavit at saka hindi naman siya under oath sa binibigay niya mga statements, dapat ba ang we have to we should not dignify na lang any further parang statements from him kung ito naman kasi ang dali-dali lang mag-FB video 'di ba? From a legal standpoint, this will not hold anything, 'di ba, in court?
Yes, I'm sure he is banking on the other court. So, kahit lawyer tayo,
public opinion.
Yes, there are two courts, the courts of law and the court of public opinion. So, he is probably appealing or litigating. Kinakaso niya yung kanyang kaso sa court of public opinion. So, sa court of public opinion, kasi yan politika And what I can share, Sir Danny, no, ako personally, I am definitely also in a dilemma whether or not to believe him. Because tayo, if we are truly anti-corruption, any revelation or expose, we should not dismiss basta-basta. We should listen to it. Of course, hindi siya admissible as a court case, pero we should listen and try to investigate and verify. Baka naman totoo. But on the other hand, ang nakikita ko nga, there is an attempt to exploit the political sentiments right now in terms of maybe stoking a revolt or a revolution or an ouster of the government, which will not be helpful kasi may mga discussion yan, transition council, military junta. I don't think those will be helpful in terms of our true goal as a people, no? There might be people who will disagree, but majority, I think, want meaningful prosecutions, meaningful cases and arrests and convictions. Pag nagka-regime change, baka magbago yung mga yan magbago yung ihip ng hangin, hindi na tayo makapag-prosecute ng maayos. Of course, the President, BBM, and the Vice President have their own accountabilities. They have their own liabilities. So if Zaldico really wants to hold BBM accountable, yung sa sinasabi nyo nga, sir, he can go back, panumpaan niya, or he can initiate an impeachment complaint if he comes back home. Kung politika ang goal niya, mag-file siya ng impeachment complaint against the President. Kasi ako, hindi ko kini-clear si PBBM. He might have his own sins or dirty linen, no? Hindi lang tayo sigurado so far. Kasi nga walang corroboration pa yung kay Zaldico. And again, we go back to the credibility of Zaldico. We cannot believe Zaldico if he says wala siyang nakuha. Hindi yung kapanipaniwala. Mabilis lang, Sir Danny, di ba? Sabi ni Orly Gutesa, sabi ni Zaldico, tama si Orly Gutesa. Kung tama si Orly Gutesa, merong 11 or 12 na maleta na iniwan worth 500 plus million pesos sa 56 condo unit, 56 floor condo unit ni Zaldico. So, we cannot believe him to be credible if he does not admit na meron din siyang nakuha.
Okay. Maganda, interesting yung binanggit mo kanina. Sabi mo, kung talagang politically, meron siyang paniniwala na wala siyang kinalaman, bumalik siya sa bansa, siya na mismo ang, let's say, manguna kung ano man ang iniisip niya, impeachment move against the president, because you cannot remove PBBM now as a sitting president unless there is an impeachment, di ba, that will emanate from Congress. Kung siya manguna, siyang main complainant, tingin mo, this is the only way. Kasi ang pananiwala ng marami, lalo na sila Yusek Claire, he is being used for political interest ng ibang tao, di ba? Tama ba, Tony Jess?
Well, he has his own political interests, but for sure he was used by others in the sense na I'm most likely sure that he's hoping for a regime change. Kasi kapag nagka-regime change, he thinks he can go home and the cases will probably be either dropped against him or magiging state witness siya because ang ituturo niya yung mas malaking tao sa kanya. Kasi state witness usually sasabihin less guilty or least guilty. So, yun yung inaasahan niya. But that might not even happen Kung nakikinig sa atin si Zaldico, kahit na mapatalsik si PBBM, let's just say, no? I don't think mawawala yung kaso against Zaldico. Baka peke yung mga pinapangako sa kanya. Diba? Kasi sobrang galit ng tao, si Ombudsman Rimulya will still be probably
Ombudsman pa rin. 7 years. Hindi magagalaw si Rimulya, whoever, di ba? Changes, whatever changes. Tama.
Ng pagpapatalsik kay PBBM. At saka yung taong bayan, hindi naman pwedeng papayag ang taong bayan. Ayaw nga natin mag-state witness ang mga diskaya, kaya hindi magawa-gawa yung gusto ni Senator Marcoleta, hindi din tayo papayag na maging state witness si Zaldico.
Pero alam mo, ang feeling ko rin based on mga pagbabasa ko sa mga social media post, any regime change, actually hindi lang ang makikinabang talaga niyan sabi mo nga para matigil na yung mga investigasyon. Siyempre, lahat ng involved, yung lahat ng lumulutang ngayon, Attorney Jess ng mga pangalan, senador, congressman, lahat gusto mangyari yan para magulo at mawala na yung investigasyon, di ba?
Definitely. Ang dadagdag ko dyan, Sir Danny, di ba? Si Yusek Bernardo is one of the most credible witness because he says part siya. He admits may kasalanan siya. He promises na magsasoli siya. Tapos, kinupkop pa siya ng CBCP or Catholic Church. So, in relation with Zaldico, kung totoo lahat ng mga sinasabi niya, kung madami talaga siyang alam at makakapagturo siya ng ibang tao at lahat ng taong pwede niyang ituro dahil alam niya yung sistema, alam niya yung laro, pwede naman siyang tulungan in terms of safety and security. Alam ko, sabi ng abogado niya, number one concern nila is yung safety or security ni Zaldico pag uwi. The CBCP, the church, will always be there to help any witness na gusto magpatulong. In the same way na itong si Yusek Bernardo nalaman natin, ay kinupkop pala ng Catholic Church.
Nako, alam mo, ang bilis ng oras Pag ikaw ang kausap ko, ang dami nating nasasaklaw ng mga issue. Isa pa, alam ko, alam mo, more than Yusek Bernardo, tingin ko lang, Attorney Jess, mas maraming alam si Yusek Cathy Cabral Di ba? Pero sa ibang diskusyon na yon, para at least tingnan natin paano iiral itong pagsasamba ng kaso. Attorney Jess, salamat sa oras.
Tama, Sir Danny. Iwan ko na lang, sana si Yusek Cabral mapatawag ulit, magisa, at ilabas niya lahat ng listahan na meron siya kasi meron daw siyang listahan sa files niya.
Yun, oo. Nako, yun naman dapat masilip natin. Nako, Attorney Jess, dapat magkape tayo minsan at marami pa tayong pag-uusapan. Thank you sa oras. Salamat. Yan si Attorney Jesus Falsis III, very relevant siya at lately political scientist, public interest lawyer at vlogger.